would kind of think that one dancing plague would be enough.
I would think that.
But medieval people, no. They go for it time and again.
It began as an oddity, a curious sight that would soon spiral into something inexplicable and terrifying. In the summer of 1518, the narrow, cobbled streets of Strasbourg became the stage for a strange and haunting spectacle, one that would haunt the annals of history for centuries to come. It started with a single woman, Frau Trophea, who, on the warm afternoon of July the 14th, found herself inexplicably compelled to dance. No music played, no rhythm to follow. Her feet moved of their own accord. Her body swayed and jerked in uncontrollable spasms. She danced with such fervor that those who watched thought her movements might snap her fragile bones. Trophea danced alone, but something peculiar began to happen. As her wild and erratic movements continued day after day, a strange magnetism took hold of others. It started with one, then two, and soon more people, unable to resist the pull of her frenetic rhythm, joined in. There were no commands, no calls to action, just an overpowering, uncontrollable urge to move, to keep moving. It wasn't long before the once quiet street became a chaotic gathering of bodies locked in dance, their limbs twisting, their faces stricken with vacant, distant stares. The town was gripped with fear, unable to understand what was happening. By the time the first week had passed, the number of dancers had swelled to 30, then to 50, and by August, the phenomenon had claimed nearly 400 victims. They danced not by choice, but by some unseen force, their movements so violent and erratic that they seemed to have no control over their own bodies. Their arms flailed, their heads spun, their legs trembled, the sweat poured off them like rivers, their faces contorted in expressions of agony. The strange condition took a deadly toll. Some dancers collapsed from exhaustion, others from heart attacks or strokes, and the unlucky few bled from their swollen feet, their bodies racked with pain as the blood pooled into their shoes. The dance was not graceful. It was spasmodic, desperate. People fell to the ground in fits, their bodies unrecognizable in their torment. The cries for help, though faint and weak, mixed with the rhythmic stomping of feet, a haunting symphony of suffering. It seemed as though the dancers were driven by an urge beyond their control, perhaps a punishment, perhaps a curse. And yet no one could explain why it was happening. The city council, helpless in the face of such an affliction, turned to the only authority they knew. Physicians, desperate for a cure, they began to advise the dancers to dance themselves free of it. In a macabre twist, they believed the only way to rid oneself of this madness was to keep dancing until the curse was lifted, until the body could somehow purge itself of the mysterious affliction. Guild halls were hastily converted into spaces where the afflicted could dance freely. Musicians were brought in to play, and strong men were enlisted to keep the dancers on their feet, to prevent them from collapsing too soon. But the dance only grew worse. The city's desperate measures only served to fuel the madness. More and more people were drawn into the frenzy. No one was spared, and the fear took root. The people began to believe the dance was not a sickness at all, but a punishment. A curse sent by Saint Vitus, the patron saint of dancers and epileptics, to cleanse them of their sins. Some even feared that the devil himself had taken hold of the town, making them dance as a form of demonic possession. The council, now fully aware of the danger they faced, took drastic action. They banned public dancing in a desperate attempt to curb the spread of the plague. They outlawed music in the hopes that without its influence, the madness would subside. But the people, fearful of divine retribution, did not heed the ban. They danced, terrified that not to dance would seal their fate. They believed that Saint Vitus's wrath would be upon them if they did not join in, and so they danced. In a final attempt to restore order, the council ordered the afflicted to visit the shrine of Saint Vitus. There they wore red shoes sprinkled with holy water, their feet marked with crosses. They clutched small crosses in their hands, holding them tightly as incense swirled through the air and Latin prayers echoed across the shrine. It was a ritual, a desperate plea for forgiveness, and miraculously, it seemed to work. The dance slowed. The bodies that had been locked in the chaotic rhythm of madness began to still. Gradually, the epidemic faded, and the last of the dancers fell silent. But the true cause of the plague remained a mystery. No one could say for certain whether it was divine punishment, a mass hysteria, or a physical ailment like ergot poisoning, a condition caused by a fungal disease found in rye. Some pointed to the stress of war, famine, and disease as the root of the panic, while others believed it was the result of demonic possession. Scholars in the centuries to come would offer their own theories, from psychological stress to the effects of contaminated bread. But the mystery remains unsolved to this day. As the years passed, the dancing plague of 1518 became a legend, a chilling story passed down through generations. It wasn't the first of its kind, nor would it be the last. Similar outbreaks, driven by fear or frenzy, had occurred throughout history. Yet none were as devastating, as haunting, or as inexplicable as the one that took hold of Strasbourg that fateful summer. The echoes of those desperate, fevered dances still linger in the pages of history, a testament to the human spirit's capacity for both madness and survival.